Hey, what is up, everyone? Welcome to the TCM Security live stream. We've got a really exciting stream going on today. I am joined by a guest, Mark Hall. Mark is, to my knowledge, the first and only person who has completed and passed all of the TCM certifications. So that's every single one that we have right now. Mark holds them all along with a lot of other non-TCM certs. So I am going to dub him a certification expert, especially when it comes to the practical exams that TCM has. So I've got some questions for him. I want to learn about his process for passing our certs and how he's able to knock them out so quickly. And we'll also take questions from the chat. But first off, Mark, thank you so much for being on the stream. And do you want to do a quick intro of who you are?
Thanks, Andrew. Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Mark. I'm just simply a SOC analyst. That's it.
A SOC analyst, maybe the most certified SOC analyst that we'll say.
Potentially.
So it is really quite impressive in my mind that you have knocked out all of these certs in the time frame that I know you have done some of them since they have released and been able to pass them very quickly. So let's kick off. I have a bunch of questions for you. So my first one is, let's go with what was the hardest cert of all of the certs that you took of ours?
The one that was the most difficult for me was the practical IoT pen test associate. It just was a completely new. Everything that was present in that certification was just completely new to me.
Mhm.
So I didn't really have a background, so I really had to study and focus up on that one. Um, it's amazing experience, amazing course that's associated with it. So it will prepare you for it. Just make sure that you're paying attention and reading the ROE, rules of engagement.
Yes.
It's there to help you. So pay close
Cool.
attention to that if you decide to take it.
Nice. I'm glad. That's funny. That's the hardest one for you. So that's cool. Yeah, I had a lot of fun making that one. For anyone that doesn't know, I am the creator of that one, and IoT hacking is my forte. So, but yeah, I can see how that one is probably the most different from all of the other ones in our cert catalog. Definitely. Yeah. So for someone in the chat dropping in, and for those who are just coming to us a little bit later, joined by Mark Hall here, who has he has done and passed every single TCM certification that is out right now. I think it's 11 of them. Probably couldn't even list them all off the top of my head. So that is quite impressive. He has passed them all, and he has some very unique insights and strategy and tips that he's going to share with us. And we're also here to answer questions from the chat. So, all right. So along with then we did the hardest one. Let's do what was the easiest one for you, at least of our certifications?
I'd say the easiest one was probably the practical mobile pen test associate. Now, I'm not saying that it was easy, like a
Yep.
cakewalk. However, just when you're doing like the mobile app and you're going through the course, it's very simple to follow, even with a little bit of coding knowledge. So
True.
it was really good, and Aaron made a great course to follow along with. So
Okay, cool. So you think that one is easy because the course does such a good job in preparing you for the
correct.
exam itself? Nice. Yeah. So I one of the things that I love about TCM exams, and I say this coming from someone who has taken TCM content like long before I worked here. I've been using TCM Fan. Is that the courses are very practical. So they're not there's no BS, right? It's just like this is what you need to know for the job and also then the exams. Like I always say this to people, and I think like it's just good to hear from someone else though. Like take the course and the course shows you exactly what you need in the exam. It's not one of those scenarios. Like I remember having these in university when I was in university where the professor's like, oh, we learned everything that's in the course. And you come to the exam and there's stuff and you're like, I have never seen this in my life before. But at least my opinion, I feel like is that with TCM exams, like what is in the exam is what's in the course. Has that been your experience through all 11 of them?
Most certainly, yeah. So everything that you're going to need is in the course, but there might be you have to think outside the box a little bit. So My
Yeah.
concept might not be as obvious as it was in the course, but the concepts are still the same.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Okay. Here's a good question here for you. So, as a SOC analyst, like, what did you think of the PSAA? So that's our entry level SOC analyst certification.
The PSAA was it was fun. It was really good. The course was well structured.
Hmm.
I think Andrew did an amazing job with that course. It helped me a lot. When I took that course, I was already doing this role for maybe two, I think about 2.5 years. So I was
Yeah.
already SOC analyst for 2.5 years. However, I learned a lot. I learned a lot more, and I was able to apply it to my current role, and that helped me get a promotion to a senior SOC
Wow.
analyst. So
Okay, so wow, that is quite the accolade then. So the the PSAA, the entry one, the course helped you get promotion. So that is awesome to see that you were able to put that directly to work. So great job. That's cool. And yeah, so that one is Andrew Prince, not me, by the way.
yeah,
Other Andrew, but yes,
sorry.
it is. No, it's okay. Just for people that's not for you, but for people that are listening in, because I always get people asking me, or like messaging me about that course. And I'm like, oh, thanks for the saying it's great, but it wasn't me. So I pass those on to Andrew Prince. But yes, that course is excellent, and also it's so packed full of stuff. Like 30 hours is pretty pretty insane for like
There's a lot
a
of
course
content.
to get that, especially at like the price that TCM stuff is. So all right, let's do another question here. A little bit biased of a question, but we were talking. I know we were talking about web app stuff one, so this is from Alex Olson. Which is your favorite course or cert, and why is it the web ones?
So I did really enjoy the both of the web certifications. However, I'm gonna go with the tried and true. The PNPT is the goat to me, and it always will be. That was everything that kind of pushed me towards wanting to continue with TCM and doing all of them. PNPT is just a cut above everything else. It was so much fun. I don't I don't think I slept for the entire time whenever I was taking it. Like I just never stepped away from my computer. It was that much
Mhm.
fun. Frustrating at times, but fun.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say for the PNPT and PJPT that they had a lot of fun, and I've even heard people that have passed it talking about buying a retake because they just want to do it again, which I think shows a lot about like certifications because they had that much fun taking it. They're like, I passed this, but I want to take it again because I can think of other certs that I did that I passed, and I never want to take them again. Like I would be very happy to never ever take them again. So yeah, that definitely says a lot about it. Here's okay. So this is a question here that I will take a poke at. So do you know when the advanced SOC 201 course will be released? I don't have an exact date, but it should be sometime in this summer. I know that Prince is like very actively working on it, and as Andrew Prince does, and you will have seen from his content, it is another very thorough course and very detailed, and it's going to be a long one. So he is, looks like be out before August. So we're getting pretty close. And I'm really excited for this one as well because it is the first one was so good and it was a lot. And I was like, how is he going to follow that? Like, is the second one going to be able? And it's going to be like the same length. So yes, and that will be out soon. So very cool to see that coming out very quickly. Here's one for you. Are you planning to become something other than a SOC analyst with that many certs? What do you plan to do with them?
Okay. Yes, I do plan to eventually move on from the SOC. Right now, I'm still kind of thinking on which direction I want to go. What do I plan to do with the certs? Okay, so when I started taking and like trying to grab so many different certs, it all started as I just wanted to understand the mind of the attacker. Who am I up
Mhm.
against in the SOC, right? So I could understand what's going on better, right?
Yeah,
And then I got obsessed with it, and I haven't stopped since. So
cool.
randomly, I'll try bug bounties. just for fun, practice, just for practice.
Yeah.
Um, Low bearing fruit, like some basic ones, then try some more advanced ones that I'm learning through the advanced web course. But I haven't got a bug bounty yet, but you know, I just keep doing them to practice.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah. So you're I know we were talking about this before. You're kind of like a lifelong learner. And so the certs are about the learning process and what you're able to learn along the way. And that's kind of some of the or a lot of the motivation for it, which I think is awesome. I'm the same way. I love learning when new courses and stuff come out. I gotta take them.
Yeah,
Gotta catch them all.
gotta catch them all.
Yeah, that's cool. So with that in mind, then do you want to? Can you tell us a little bit about how you got into cybersecurity? How you
Yeah.
became a SOC analyst? Like, yeah, what's your background?
Okay, so background, it's kind of a bit long, but I got I was in the military. I served for 6 years as a grunt infantry.
Mm-hmm.
When I got out, my first job out, I was run a wire, so Cat 5, Cat 6, etc.
Yeah.
And then after that, the org I worked with, they didn't really have anything that could push me into tech, so I got my first help desk job, and that was an amazing experience because the owner of the organization and the senior tech there took me under their wing, and they
Mm-hmm.
kind of taught me the ropes. And from there, they were like, "Whatever you want to do, whatever you want to learn, let's go." I ended up taking a different cert, not a TCM cert. And from that point, I was like, security is pretty cool.
Nice.
And then at that point, they were like, okay, well, we're going to have you set up every firewall for the organization, and you're going to be in charge of everything for S1, etc., Sentinel
Mm-hmm.
1,
Yep.
etc. And at that point, magically, I got a message one day from the current where I currently work, the SOC. They were like, "Hey, do you want to interview for a SOC analyst role?" And I've been there since. We're going on 3 years now. So
Cool. That's awesome. So yeah, that's you went the. I know there's a lot of people, especially in the States, that were military, some branch, then went transitions into security. So you're able to probably make use of the military discounts, the veterans discount that we have, which is awesome. And then help desk, which I'm a proponent of that being a great way to break into IT and cybersecurity. And then from there, kind of trial by fire, thrown into start setting up firewalls and EDR and all that, and that went into SOC. So awesome, definitely a great path, I think, for people to replicate if they are interested. So thank you for sharing that. Okay. So kind of talked about this a bit, but to answer this person, so do you like being a SOC analyst, and how closely would you say that PSAA translates to the job?
I absolutely love being a SOC analyst. It's so much fun. Like we get to, depending, but sometimes we get to see attacks before there's write-ups about it, right?
Yep.
Like before there was any write-ups on Black Basta, like we were seeing it. We knew the attack, we knew the TTPs, and
Yep.
so uh, it's never there's almost never a dull moment, but of course there's going to be dull moments when bad things are not happening. So um, it's a great career. It really is. And how closely does the PSAA translate to the job? It depends on where you're at. If you're
Mhm.
in an in-house, if you're at an in-house SOC for an organization, so it's probably going to be almost exactly the same. But if you work at like an MSSP, it's going to be dictated by like your company's policy.
Mhm.
Mainly, like some orgs, they might not. You might not be able to remote into computers. You might only be able to maybe write an investigation on something, right?
Yeah.
And not actually get into the details or do like incident response. So it's going
Mhm.
to be dictated by what company you go to. um, but PSAA 100% will assist you with the knowledge on the attacks, kind of what you're looking for whenever you're going through things. It You'll learn Splunk. There's your seam. Splunk's
Yeah.
nice. So
Cool. Awesome. All righty. Here's a good one from Brett that I'm also curious. So what kind of cert would you be interested in seeing us do, either in the future or like next?
a, a gauntlet. Let me take them all again, please. Yep. Just give me a week. Let me finish all of them over again. I'd like that.
Nice.
All
Yeah.
right. But on a serious note, what I would like to see in the future as a cert, I would like to see OT. OT would be amazing.
Yeah, that
Like
would be a cool one.
something like that would
I
be
know
really
people are always asking for that, like ICS OT, which is like I actually have somewhat of a background in that, but not security specifically. Like I just worked with those. My background is as a engineer, but yes, that would be a really cool one because there also, to my knowledge, is like nothing affordable in that space, right? Like everything is your $10,000 plus stuff. So
it's not cheap. Like all the certs
yeah,
that they have right now, and
yeah,
unfortunately, the knowledge out there's not like too much that you can take like at this time to really kind of push you down that path. So it's pretty much self study,
yeah,
unless if you have the wallet to drop 10K
yes.
on a course.
Yeah, and then it's tough because, like, there are simulators, but like realistically, you need to work on the PLCs and the SCADA devices and all that stuff. So that stuff's not cheap if you want to set up your own lab. So that would be very cool, though. I would take that.
Same.
Yeah.
I'd be there.
Yeah. Okay. Here's a bit of a longer one. So this person's an incident responder. Most of the work they do is e-discovery, digital forensics related. They already have a master's degree, so awesome on that. And they have a respected blue team cert. So what should I study now in order to keep increasing my skills? And then the ... they ask about, like, do you think red team certs would be beneficial to them even though they're working on the blue team? What's your thought process there?
Generally, yes. So at least how I perceive it, knowledge is going to be your power, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're doing e-discovery and DFIR, your digital forensics, having a little bit more knowledge on the attacker might help you whenever you're hunting through things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if if you get a deep knowledge of these TTPs, you might find an artifact that links it to a threat group, right? And then you can just reference the emitter attack and be like, all right, here is this group's TTPs, and then that might be able to further assist you whenever you're hunting through files, etc., seeing what exactly happened.
Cool. Yeah. So you think so? What if they were going to pick one TCM cert, knowing they already have a respected blue team one? So what would you suggest to them
So,
then?
so since you have a respected blue team cert and extensive background with your master's degree, um, I'd say shoot for if you've never done any like pen testing, I'd say do PJPT. That's going to simulate internal. But if you're really hyped about like really going in deep, do the PNPT.
Cool. Awesome. Did you do the PNPT before the PJPT then? Because of
I
when they were
think
released?
I can't remember. I'm too old now. I think I did the PN. Wait, let me pull it up.
uh, I was just like wondering because I know you said that one kind of like got you into the. While you're looking for that, I'm going to answer a question here. So this question is, will there be bigger discounts for certs in the future? I mean, I don't know specifically, but as far as like what our normal is and what I would suspect it to continue, no. The biggest discounts we ever give off certs or have in the past is 20%, which is happening right now for our summer sale in June. So we always do a summer sale in June, or we always have. I guess I shouldn't say. I don't know what the future will bring, but usually do a summer sale in June, which is happening right now. You can get 20% off of certs, also live trainings if you're into that, and you can get 50% off your first academy payment. So what that means is if you want to try out for a month, you can get 50% off like your first month, and then you can continue to keep signing up and paying per month, but it'll be at the full price. But if you want to get the best value of that, you can stack that with buying like a whole year's upfront, which you already get a significant discount, and then you get half off that. So you can get it down to like, I think it's a little bit lower than $10 a month at that price if you want access. So to answer your question, no, most likely not. There won't be any bigger discounts for certs. In the future, there will be more sales. Usually there's one that runs around Black Friday. But yeah, no, there probably won't be anything bigger than 20% for certs.
I took the PJPT first.
You took the PJ. So did you find that helpful then to like get your process and get your feet wet? And,
Yeah, most certainly.
yeah. So
Yeah,
you.
it's gonna teach you a lot, and
Mhm.
actually that helped in my role too. Look, looking out
Cool.
for pen tests that we didn't know about, right? Like, hey, wait a
Ah,
sec.
yes, those sneaky unannounced pen tests, and being able to say, "Hey, I see you." Run and respond around my network. What are you doing here?
Yep, that's a big one. That
Yeah,
is a big one.
yeah, they love to do that one first. Then knock on the door with it. So that's cool. That's cool. So I have a question here for you. This one we were talking about before, but I know you have a unique strategy that you use for the TCM practical certs and the fact that you do get 2 exam attempts. So do you want to walk through a little bit what your strategy is and why you think that's worked so well for you?
Okay, yeah, most certainly. So we get 2 certs. So whenever you buy a course, you get 2 attempts, right?
Yeah.
So I go through the course, and then when I'm going through the course, I'll build out a methodology.
Yeah.
So we'll take the PJPT, for example, since we were just talking about it.
Yeah.
It's an internal pen test. So probably should focus on the Active Directory section. It sounds like that would be practical, right? So
100%.
from that, build out a simple methodology, and then go into the exam after you're done with the course, test your methodology.
Mhm.
If you pass, awesome, your methodology works. Good job.
Yeah.
If you fail, you might need to tweak something. And so
Yeah.
if you look back, say, all right, well, I failed or I got confused at X point, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
then at that portion, you go back, watch the videos, do repetitions, like maybe specific attacks were kind of tripping you up, or you have to think a little bit
Yep.
differently about how they work in a network, and truly understanding the tools will help as well. Like, why does this work? Like, kind of get curious about things, right? The more
Yes.
curious you are, yeah, you'll start reading hundreds and hundreds of blogs, and then eventually everything will come together and make sense to you. But
Cool.
I mainly use that first attempt as a recon.
Yes.
Sometimes I'm successful, sometimes I'm not successful with it, right?
Yep.
I mean, you, there's no shame in not passing. It doesn't mean that you're not intelligent. It doesn't mean
Yep.
that you're bad at this career. You just need to reapproach. You just need to brush it off and then reapproach. Don't be scared. Don't be intimidated. It's just a certification. I know that there's a big emphasis on the industry, or a lot of people like to talk about how important certifications are. I I love certifications. I love taking certifications just as a baseline to say, hey, I took this course. I executed it and I'm
Mhm.
doing pretty decent here. And
Yeah.
then at that point, you can take out those skills and level it up and then level it up from there.
Yeah.
But by no means is a certification necessary. I mean, just going through the TCM courses themselves, you'll learn so much, and it is a beautiful path. It is a beautiful path to walk. You want to learn coding? They got coding. Do you want to learn IoT? They got IoT. You want to do web? Alex takes care of that. Like, you got all the web app.
Yeah.
You got network. You got mobile. You got everything in there. It's all included. So
Yeah.
beautiful place to be.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So I think your mindset is what's like really important for being successful and utilizing that exam attempt, because I know there have been other people that have used this strategy to a lot of success too. And it's not to say, you got this extra attempt, just like we were talking about this before. You don't just like go blow in, full recon, because you won't even know what to look for. But yeah, you don't put a lot of stress on that first one. Like if you fail it, it's okay. And just like, get in, get your feet wet, give it your best shot, and go in with the mentality that, if you don't pass, it's okay. Because it really is. It's not, it's not a big deal. And yeah, take a lot of really good notes when you're in there. And then you're arming yourself with, hey, I didn't know this, I didn't know that, I need to brush up on this, all of that stuff, and you can come back at it again. Instead of, I think, yeah, a lot of people over prepare, right? Which is, not necessarily bad if that's your jam, but that's going to be, um, Sometimes I think it holds people back where they're like, I didn't even use my first one. I had all this. I'm gonna take all the PEH courses, and then I got to do like all these try hacker rooms, all this hack the box, and do the course another time, and then this and that, and then I'll try my first time, and
Yeah, I can understand over preparing sometimes. I get
yep,
that,
me too.
but you cannot let the fear like win, right? Just keep moving forward. You got to keep driving forward. Don't stop. Especially if you're passionate about it. Like
Yeah,
if you love this, just give it a try. I
yeah,
mean, you get a free retake anyway, so
yeah,
just.
exactly. And
But
then like the retakes are not that expensive too. If you need to take like another one,
yeah,
so
it's
it's
not expensive. But also, that doesn't mean don't watch the course or learn.
yeah, oh yeah, 100%.
And please, there's a reason that they put take notes in the
Yes,
courses. You I really should take good notes. Like
yes.
my Notion is, I think it's like 32 gigs of notes.
Wow. So you're using Notion. That's good because Brit was curious on what. Yeah. So like you're using Notion.
Yes.
Do you have any other recommendations? Like just yeah. What's your thought process when you're taking notes?
Okay, so whenever I'm going through, I'll take the general gist of the course, like of what's being outlined per video, and then I break it down into substructures. And then for attacks, I will specifically make a section for the attacks, right?
Mhm.
With a walkthrough and screenshots. So this
Cool.
way, whenever, let's say, I'm trying to do like a SQL injection, right?
Yeah.
I have screenshots that I can reference to go, oh, yeah, I forgot this, and this is how it's supposed to work. This is how it's supposed to function, right? So
Amazing.
different attacks, if you have them all on hand, it's kind of like your own little cheat sheet. And I can't really dictate what's the best method for everyone because every one of us is different, and
Yeah.
we're gonna approach things like
Yeah.
in a different manner.
Mhm.
But for me, having my attacks on this nice, beautiful little Notion page that's like really defined out, and I just
Yeah.
click on the attack name and it takes me to a walkthrough. It's been
Yes.
it's been pivotal for success.
Yes. I agree because I tell people like our exams are entirely open book, right? You can you can go back to the course while you're doing the exam, but like, for example, the help desk one is 8 hours, that exam, right? The course is 17 hours. So like, they don't meet up, right? So if you don't have your own notes, they need to be able to understand them, right? And that's why it kind of doesn't work to just take someone else's notes. They need to be like yours that, like you said, exactly, okay, go here in the Notion, I click on this. The details are here because yeah, no one realistically is going to be able to memorize all this stuff. When I'm working, I got Google open, I got ChatGPT, I got my notes, I go back to my notes all the time. But they're my own, and I have that process. So yeah,
Yeah, most certainly.
but yes, yeah, our exams are open book, right? But I remember sometimes those were the hardest ones in university when I got the open book. You're like,
Right?
uh oh, uh oh.
Yeah. Um, if you can, you can watch the course, but you have limited time. Sorry,
Yeah,
you have limited time,
yeah,
so you can't sit there and watch the entirety of the PH course again
no,
while you're
no,
taking the PNPT. Like, I mean,
yeah, exactly.
you have that time, but that
Yeah,
clock counts against you,
yeah,
so you
yeah,
don't want to do
exactly.
that.
Yeah, you gotta have it dialed in with your notes and stuff, right? Yeah, it's because that course is like almost 30 hours too, right? So if you're trying to watch that during the exam, you're gonna run out of time for sure.
Yeah.
All righty. Well, I'll do this quick one here from Adriana. Love the hat. Thank you. I just got it. This is Bare Knuckles and Brass Tacks, which I'm a fan of their stuff and their podcast. So definitely check it out. And they got some cool merch out right now. This is a good one for you. I'm curious about this one, if you could remember. What exams took you more than one attempt, then, now that we're talking about it?
The PIPA took more than one attempt for me.
Yeah,
It was very
easy one.
difficult. But to combat that, you know, go to the Discord, read and then spend 5 hours a day in Ghidra just tracing things until I got good at it.
Good at reverse engineering. Yeah,
Yeah.
reverse engineering is a tricky one to learn about. All righty. Oh, this is a good one for you. Okay. What was the hardest part for you from moving from junior to senior? 'Cause I know you mentioned that you just recently or somewhat recently made that move.
So I recently moved. The hardest part. Okay, so I've had to learn from taking my technical knowledge, and now I'm kind of more. I still have to be technical, but I have to manage people in my shift, right?
Mm,
So I've had to really focus on my soft skills, um, and focus on helping others succeed, not just
mm,
myself, right? And like taking my knowledge and spreading that out to everyone around me, so that I can support my team and make sure that they have everything that they need, and you know, new tools, a few new tools
few new
added here
tools,
and
yeah.
there.
But yes, but soft skills. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So
Soft skills are very, very, very important, and I know we're all kind of socially awkward sometimes. Being whenever you're highly technical, that seems to be common, but
yeah,
work on those skills. I mean,
cool.
it's important.
Good plug for our soft skills course, by the way. If anyone is interested, it is free, 100% free. It used to be a paid, which is like, and we didn't make it. It wasn't one of those courses where we're like, oh, it's not doing well or whatever. It was just like Keith was like, this course is too important to like not have everyone to have access to. So we made the free tier. He just put it on the free tier. It used to be paid. Great course, really good course. Goes over a lot of important stuff, especially if you're applying for jobs too. Because it goes over like resumes, how to interview, how to self brand, how to make your own personal website, all that stuff. How to, but also like how to communicate in emails, chat, all that stuff that like they never teach you in school or anything, right? You just kind of like expected to learn it on the go. It is an excellent course. All
Yeah.
righty, let's see here if we got any. Oh, here's a good one. This is a good one. What is your craziest day in the SOC then?
I'm not going to mention an organization's name,
Uh,
but something happened that took out computers everywhere. And when that happened, I don't know how many alarms. I
yeah,
stopped counting. But everything kind of blew up, and that was probably the craziest day, putting out fires everywhere,
yeah,
right? And now if you're specifically asking about attacks, I mean, it's it's different. It's
mhm,
like different. Like maybe I've dealt with ransomware, right?
yeah,
We've stopped ransomware. We've stopped initial access. Sometimes you find someone that's been sitting on a host for 6 months, just poking and prodding around. It's just there's just too much. I'm not allowed to really talk about everything,
yeah,
but I can give like generals. But
mhm,
other than the day the internet broke, probably would be um, a threat group uh, did end up encrypting encrypting a client, and that was a devastating day. So
yeah. I can imagine that would be like really, yeah, just tough to, you know, it's really tough. One of the really tough things about being a defender is that like the attackers can try and fail and try and fail and try and fail and try and fail, right? Especially if we're talking about like the non-ethical, right, from that end, or even pen testers, right? They can try and fail, and that's no one's going to be like, hey, that's really bad. But as defenders, we kind of have to be like, yes, all the time, right? And when we don't, then it's bad. It's like
you
which
can
is
miss
definitely
something so small, something as insignificant as a bit, like a little bit being flipped. Just one slight little change could be the beginning of initial access, right?
Mhm.
And you always have to be alert and
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
paying attention,
Yeah.
and do
Yeah.
your best.
You can tell how the fatigue of like the alert fatigue and everything really can hit you hard as from working in the SOC. Like it is, I totally get that.
Most certainly.
Along those lines, I think you work like night shifts, right? So
That's correct.
do you find the irregular hours of working SOC shifts to get to?
No, the joke is I'm a vampire by nature. So,
Okay.
no, I work better at night. I'm usually awake during the night anyway. And for whatever reason, they like to attack in the middle of the night. So I'm up. I'm ready whenever
Good.
it happens.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it makes sense. Like, yeah, that's when organizations are sometimes the least ready, right?
Certainly.
To defend. Like, you definitely got your SOC analysts working, but if you need escalation paths and stuff like that, you probably got to go like wake people up and like that jazz, right? Unless you
Yep.
see, hopefully, you got your playbooks and your run books and everything dialed in for what to do at nighttime. But
We have
yeah,
we have very specific procedures that we kind of follow. I have an
yeah,
amazing team. I have one person who's above me, and then I have about 8 analysts under me. And whenever we have our escalation path, it's pretty much clockwork now. Everyone knows exactly what we're supposed to do, and I trust my team. So, if something happens,
mhm,
we're well prepared whenever it does.
perfect. Yeah, that's another thing. Like having trust in your team, trust in your process, and trust in your tools is really important, isn't it? To Yeah, I find that to be very important, or else you don't. It's very easy to start second guessing yourself, and then when you're in an incident doing that, it's not good. All right. Oh, this is so. You mentioned you were starting to kick off trying to do some bug bounty. So we got a question here: how can a beginner proceed to get in bug bounty and web app pen tests? Finish the PEH course and the bug bounty course on TCM. They're still struggling. Do you have any
Okay.
tips? What are your bug bounty tips, tricks, suggestions? What do you think?
Okay. I personally think Alex would be better to answer this because I don't actually have a bug bounty yet. Um, I just go to different bug bounty sites and then I magically only choose the ones that have safe harbor. So,
Uh,
because I don't like getting sued, right? So, safe
yeah.
harbor is my path because I'm
Okay.
paranoid as it is.
Yeah.
Um, but just keep going through the courses, keep trying the best that you can.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have a bug bounty, so I'm not speaking from an authority here. Um, I only know that I just like going to different sites and seeing anything that's safe harbor and
Mhm.
then trying every little attack that I know. Will it work? It hasn't yet. So no big payouts for me at this time.
Yeah.
But, just keep trying, I guess. And then ask
Yeah.
Alex.
Yeah. Yeah. So Alex does fairly frequent streams where he goes over web hacking. So if you want more, definitely check that out. There's also uh, so beyond the bug bounty course, there's then the intermediate web course uh, and CERT, which I know you've taken. And then there is the expert web one, which is a course, advanced web hacking, which is out now on the Academy. And the CERT for that, which will be our first experts level CERT. So if you're not familiar with our CERT tiers, we have 3 tiers of CERT. So it starts in the analyst, or sorry, the associate level, which is like a junior. And then we have like the professional, which is the mid level. So for example, PNPT. And then it goes to the expert level, in which we're having our first expert cert, which is the PWPE, coming out very shortly, within probably within weeks, um, kind of situation. So if you want to check out more web app stuff, we definitely have a lot of web app stuff. Whenever I get asked about bug bounty, I don't really do it anymore. I'm not like it's to me. I don't think the value is there monetary wise. The only time I ever will do it is if it's something that really interests me and I would be doing like that kind of hacking or research or whatever on my own time anyway. Because for me, that's the only way I can get any value out of it is that, you know, I'm doing this anyway, so at least it gives me a live target to test on, which it sounds like is kind of your process as well, right? Like you don't necessarily care if you don't get a payout because you still get to test these attacks on a live target with safe harbor without, you know.
Exactly, right.
Yeah.
Learn an attack, obsess about that specific attack, test it. Can I get
Yeah.
it? Awesome. Maybe a payout.
Yeah.
Maybe not. It's just it's just how the cookie crumbles. I think that's how the saying goes, or something like that. Right. But I am by no means an expert in web app. That's not my place. I know
Yeah.
that there's some amazing individuals in the Discord that have done that, that are like that do web app regularly, and
Yeah.
maybe this is part of their career. That'd probably be better to ask them. I can only tell you from my experience, so don't take that as gospel. It's
Yeah.
only kind of an hyper obsessive nerd kid just sitting here trying to randomly get a bug bounty. That's it, or
Good
test.
for you. Good for you. Yeah, so that's another resource too. If you are interested, we do have a Discord community, which I like hanging out in, full of very, very smart people who are friendly and willing to help out and answer questions as well. So if you're not already, make sure to check that out as well. Oh, Britt just dropped it in the chat. Okay, here's a funny one for you. How many penguins did you hide in your reports?
Okay, funny story. So after the penguin incident, um,
Yeah,
I started putting the opacity to the penguins. So for all my TCM reports, I'd take little pictures of penguins that I'd make, and I'd turn the opacity down, and then I'd hide them throughout the reports. Well,
yeah,
no one was noticing, so then I just stopped doing that after like 4 reports,
yeah.
and then now the cover page of all my
Yes,
reports just have a nice big penguin, and I
yes.
I theme my penguins specific to that certification.
Yes, yes. I saw the help desk one because it was still when you took that one, it was so early in the process that I was still like marking the first ones coming in to make sure that like everything was fine with how they were. And yeah, I was looking through the penguin at the help desk, right? Like they were like had a headset on and like answering tickets and stuff. Uh,
Exhausted, most
yeah.
certainly.
Yes. Yeah. I think he had a cup of coffee for sure with the penguin on his mug, if I remember correctly.
That is correct.
Yeah. Did you get your penguin? I know that was like one of your driving factors for getting all the certs is you had a wager with Heath that if you could do them all, you could get a penguin roll in Discord.
Yep, I got my penguin roll. That was
You
the
got
first
your
thing
penguin,
that
so
happened.
nice. So okay, cool. I'm gonna have to go check that out then in Discord and see your fancy roll. So that's cool. That's awesome. I remember you telling me that you had that going, and I was rooting for you because I know it's tricky because yeah, like you just got in right before another cert's coming out, so like you were kind of constantly chasing them,
Yeah,
right? Like they were coming out almost as fast as you were getting them, and you just like, yeah, by a couple of weeks probably.
gotta catch
Although,
them all, right?
yeah, exactly. Okay, I got one here I can answer. The SOC 201, yes, it will have a cert accompanying it. So there's another one you can take a shot at, Mark. But yes, yeah, the SOC 201 course will have the like our intermediate level of certs. So yes, 100%. I don't know specifically the timing of it, but yes, it will. Uh, Here's a good one. Do you want to take a shot at this one? So I'm guessing he's talking about either the PNPT or PJPT, the exam with the PDH. So asking, do they need to prepare their machine before the exam and install tools in advance?
For both is going to be yes.
Mm-hmm.
So we have the Pimp My Cali, right? And that'll kind of build it out for you.
Yeah.
Um, like what you need, like as you're going through the course.
Mm-hmm.
I personally wouldn't take it until I had my own tools and my own flow set up, right?
Yeah.
So one thing that I will say, when you're going through the course, certain tools are like kind of like standard. Like responder is pretty standard, right? But then you might have like very specific tool set that you like to focus on.
Yeah.
Like right? So I love Burp Suite. I absolutely love Burp Suite. You know what
Yeah.
I don't like about Burp Suite? Throttling. And
Hmm.
I am notoriously cheap, so
Yeah.
I am not using the pro version right
Yeah.
now.
Hmm.
So I don't pay for it. So I can use OWASP app, right?
Yeah.
Because it's free and doesn't
Yeah.
throttle me. You might like Fuff, right?
Yeah.
Specifically. So use that, build out your tools, get your methodology, and don't be nervous. Just whenever that time comes, click the button, jump in, actually read the rules of engagement.
Yes.
Please read
Read them.
them.
Read them.
They
Yes.
will
Read
keep
them.
they will keep you on track for what's expected, what's required. Take a bunch of screenshots when you're going through. Um, it's gonna help you kind of tell your story, like on your report,
Yeah.
right? And use their template. Now, I don't personally keep the template how they have it. I just use that as my own template, and then I
Yeah.
adapt it to what I think's right to me.
It's your starting point. But yeah, 100%. All great tips. Yeah, I would say so. There's the exams in TCM are kind of split up into two different ways that you take them. So one, which is like the PJP and PNPT, is you just get a VPN connection to the environment, and then you connect your own machine into that environment, and then you have access from your machine to what you're supposed to have access to, and you can use whatever tools you want, whatever. Yeah, it doesn't matter. You could use Kali. You could try and do it from your Windows box if you want. Like, it doesn't matter for PNPT, PJPT. But so in those ones, you should have like you should have your VM, like, it inside out, the commands, the tools. You've been using that for your practice, and you should have a snapshot of it too. So because it's always possible to break stuff, and have all that ready to go before you take the exam. In my opinion. So that's exam type 1, which you'll know when you read about the exam. The other exam type, which I'm sure you're familiar with, is we provide the machine and the tools and everything for you. And the reason for that is because it's to keep exam integrity. So these are exams usually where there's samples that you're going to be provided. So like a malware analysis or something like that. And there's no real way for us to protect exam integrity without keeping like everything in this, where like you can't just download the samples and then someone could leak them as happens. So in those types of exams, then you don't need to have your own tool set up, but still you should be very familiar with how to use them, because you're going to get those tools and then have to use them. So, but yes, quick answer, yes, prepare your machine for the PJPT or PNPT ahead of time. I suggest using a snapshot, using VM, taking a snapshot, and being very familiar with that, because you won't have time to sort that out during the exam.
And good luck. And look forward
Yeah.
to seeing you pass.
Yeah. Good luck. Yes. Thank you. Yeah. Also, definitely. Good luck. We're cheering for you. Okay. I got one here. Will there be a dedicated networking course available soon? Soon, I'm not sure, but it is in the roadmap. So right now, I am working on a free tier course called PSEC, or Practical Security Fundamentals, which is going to be released 100% free on the free tier at some point this summer. Right now, it's on the Academy for like paid subscribers as it drips. So like I think the first 8 modules of it are out, and this is like that triad of fundamentals that we tell people they need to know about. Which one is like you're just help desk, all the what a computer is, all your basics. And then we tell people, you need to have that security fundamentals, not at a SOC level, but you know what the CIA triad is, what encryption is, what malware is, like just all those terms and like all that stuff that you just kind of unfortunately have to memorize and know secondhand before you can even get into pen testing or SOC or anything like that. So that's going to be our security fundamentals course. I'm working on that right now. I was recording a lesson on asymmetric versus symmetric encryption right before we got on this call, and I will go back to editing it after we get on this call. I'm working on it right now. And then the plan is, yes, at some point then to have a free networking course as well that will go over all of the the fundamentals of networking you need to know if you want to work in security. And yeah, so at some point there will. I don't have a timeline for that one yet, but yeah, at some point. If you do want to learn networking stuff, there is quite a bit of networking content actually in the help desk course. Like there's a whole section on that, and it's about, I don't know, maybe an hour and a half long. So there's a decent amount there if you want some free content on that as well. All righty. Let's see. So you're telling me I'm not allowed to deploy ransomware in the test environment? Like, sorry, you
What a legend.
might be maybe in the malware exam. What did you think of that exam, by the way, the malware one?
The malware analysis, the PMAT.
Yeah.
It was very fun. Now, I love the course, and I can say that the course will prepare you for it. However, a little more to help you along the way would be to take the Assembly 101, because whenever you start going through that PMAT course and you start breaking down like the sections on kind of going down how things work in assembly when you're disassembling like malware, you can get lost pretty easily. And if you couple that with Andrew Bellini's course, not the other Andrew, it'll kind of help you understand the flow of things and how everything functions, so you won't get as lost.
Cool. Yes. Yeah. So I've heard that from a bunch of people actually. So I'm glad that helps with that. That course specifically, the practical malware analysis and triage, that is personally my favorite course on the TCM Academy. I think Matt Kiley did an amazing job on it, and yeah, I took that course way before I worked at TCM, and I was telling everyone about it, and I was telling Matt, I was like, dude, I was watching this like it was like Stranger Things on Netflix. Like I was like, I finished that course real fast because like I was staying up at night being like, I want to detonate this malware. I love malware. So that for me, that was like super cool. And that is my favorite course on the Academy. So
it's a solid one, and it's nerve-wracking the first time that you do actually detonate something. You're like,
oh yeah, like
did I do this?
Yeah, because the course starts out with detonating some ransomware, like some famous very WannaCry. Yeah, I think that's like the first thing you do to make sure your environment is safe is you ransomware the whole thing and then reset it and you're good to go. But that was cool because that was so practical, right? It's not like theoretical, like ransomware is malware that encrypts your thing. It's like, no, your machine is like it doesn't work. All your files are gone, and here's the message asking for Bitcoin. Like 100% practical. So it is definitely worth checking out that one. Got a couple questions here. Why you cannot make malware development course? I honestly, I think at some point we will. There's no specific, there's nothing that we're like, no, it's not. We can't do that. It's just more of a niche area, and we want to get out the more I don't know what the word for it is, but like the standard courses that everyone's going to be looking for and would kind of need to take before that, the SOC courses, the fundamentals courses. So there's no reason why not. And I would if I was given that assignment to create that course, I'd be super happy. What I tell people about all of our courses that they want to see is 100% do this. Tell us, send us social media, ask us in the chat, because it does have an impact on what we're going to make is what people are asking. Because obviously we want to make courses that people are going to take, regardless of if they're free or paid or whatever. I don't want to make a course that no one's going to take, really, right? So definitely let us know what you want to take. And hopefully at some point in the future, there will be a malware development course. I know we've been kicking around the idea of exploit development as well on here. So, okay. What is practical about the practical security fundamentals? If you could tell us anything about it. TCM is awesome for this, by the way. Yes, I can talk a little bit about, actually, I can talk a lot about that course. So This course is a little bit different than our other courses in that some of the stuff in security fundamentals, there's no getting around it. You just have to learn it in a lecture format, right? There's a lot of specific things that you just need to know the definitions of it. Like, for example, doing sectional encryption, like, it is a lecture heavy in that you need to have a lecture about asymmetric and symmetric encryption. You need to learn the phrases like what is a ciphertext, what's plain text, what's a key, what's initialization vector. So the PSAC course, I will say, it is a lot more lecture heavy than our other courses usually are. The practical part of it is, first off, there's no fluff. I'm only teaching stuff that I think you need to know, and that is still practical for you to go and have the discussions that you'll need to have in SOC roles. Like if you're the junior reporting up to say, it's this type of malware. I know, IOC, what an IOC is, like, tools, tactics, procedures, all of those like terms. You just have to know them to be able to talk. People are going to be throwing out those acronyms and terms. So there's no fluff there. And then in every single section of the course, there is at least one lab, if not multiple. So in the encryption one, for example, since I'm doing that right now, there's a couple labs where we actually, go and show how to do asymmetric and symmetric encryption using different algorithms in CyberChef. So you can just see like what that looks like, what the key is, what the initialization vector. And then we also have one that shows breaking hashes with Hashcat and cracking them. So those are the practical parts of it, is that there is a lab, and also, it's no fluff. It's the stuff that, even though you're not hands on the keyboard doing it, you need to know these things, which I think, Mark, you can probably talk to that a bit too, that there's just stuff you just need to know.
Yeah, the fundamentals, you can't overlook the fundamentals. You're going to need them. PSEC is going to really kind of push that for you.
Yeah, which, I mean, it has been a little trickier for me to make this one because I am used to like all of those where like, my other courses are mostly hands on the keyboard, like follow along with me. But with the stuff that you need to know, like you can't just jump into the keyboard with those. You have to start at like talking about what they are and the definitions before you can do something like go into SOC 101 course, right? So but it's going to be free. So, I mean, hopefully people will check it out and kind of come to their own conclusions about if they find it helpful and whatnot. Let's see if we got any more questions here. I'm just looking through the pinned questions here. I'll give one for you to answer here. There we go. How important is AI for cybersecurity? What do you think about generative AI in cybersecurity? Is it important for the beginner to learn it?
So learning AI or utilizing AI? Like, are you trying to make like your own like LLMs, like your language models, or
I'm gonna say they mean like utilizing it.
Oh, AI is very helpful. Now, I wouldn't take it as gospel, right? So I would, I use ChatGPT to help me write scripts sometimes. I'm like, hey, I'm doing this. And then it's like, here's a script. Don't take that script directly. Right? Don't just be like copy, paste, go. Because it might not work, or it might do something you don't want it to do. Right? So you want to learn the fundamentals, and AI can help you with that too. You can get you can ask whatever you use to whatever AI you want to use. Ask it, hey, teach me how to code. Teach me PowerShell. Teach me Python. Right, and then you can build that, and then you build those fundamentals. And then if you have a cool idea for a tool, and you try it on your own, and then if it's not getting anywhere, you're kind of stuck, then you can kind of dictate that over to the AI, and maybe it can help push you along. But yeah, I think it's going to be great for coding. I think it will be really good to utilize for some intelligence. Do not ever put anything sensitive in AI. please.
Yep.
Right? Don't do that. We want to be very cautious.
Hmm.
So nothing, no PII, anything like that. Right?
Yep.
So, uh, you can use it, and it will be a great friend, a great tool to use. Just
Yep.
approach it with caution, and
Yep. Yeah,
you'll be fine.
100%. I like to think of it as like a force multiplier. You need the human behind it, but yeah, I use it all the time, and especially for fundamental things that are like pretty well known. It's very good at like helping teach and understand those. Right, the more like complex and down the line you get, the more you run into issues where it won't be right. Because like there are things that I've been doing a lot with AI recently, like testing wise, hacking, trying to learn about it. And so I've been pushing it to its limits to talk about things that I would say like I'm an expert in or approaching, and asking it things that like I know but to see. And I am noticing that like it does make subtle mistakes that are hard to notice if you're not an expert that would have like significant um, impacts on what you're asking it. So, but like the more fundamental stuff, it's so good at teaching that actually. Like it's very good at explaining those and giving details and all that. Okay, here's one. I can answer this. Yeah, it's open book, so like you can use Google, you can ask Chat GPT. Like it's open book. I don't know. Like, do you want to have you used AI to help you on any exams? Like,
Yes,
yeah,
100%.
exactly. Yeah,
Like if I can't get a script to work, or it's not like doing or interacting how I want it to work, it goes to chat.
yeah, exactly. Like, there's no we don't shy away from that. Like, just because you have access to you can't just dump someone into the exam that hasn't taken the course or like doesn't know the methodology and stuff and be like, all right, I've got ChatGPT, it's going to pass this exam for me. No way. No way at all, right? But I mean, yeah, like saving you time, scripts not working, troubleshooting, walking through methodology, creating mind maps for you, right? Like all this stuff is already out there that you can Google too, right? Like, usually if your script's not working, you can find the Stack Overflow that's going to help you with it. And, ChatGPT is probably just paraphrasing that a lot faster and, can maybe fix it for you. But yeah, you would have been able to do that with Google too, right? Most
Yeah, most
likely.
certainly.
You
Stack
know?
Overflow was like the goat.
Yeah, and now no one uses it, but like ChatGPT learned from it, right? Or whatever your favorite large language model is. So, um, yeah. Well, I have a funny story about this actually. So, a while back, I built this tool when I was taking the PEH course called First Responder, and it is a tool that can detect responder running by trying to connect to network drives that don't actually exist on your network. So you can pass in like whatever would fit your network, but with a common typo. And like you should never get hits back for like when you're trying to connect to those. And what it does is it actually then listens. And if you get a response back being like, hey, yeah, I'm actually this drive through LLM&R, or like, then you have an idea that responder is running on the network. And mine actually goes one step further in that it then, when it asks you for, your hash and your username and stuff, my script actually sends one back, but it's a bogus one with a very easily crackable hash of like a common bad password. So then if you tune your SIEM or whatever you're using to also fire off if you see login attempts for that decoy user, you have like a really high credible that pen testers are on your network, right? So this is a tool that I initially designed to catch pen testers for unannounced pen tests. But when I was first testing out coding on LLMs a few years back, I remember I was like, oh, I'm going to try and see how well I can get it to make this tool for me, because I had just done it, like coded it by hand, right? And it's public I've shared it in, blogs, the repo is public and stuff. And I remember when I was getting the ChatGPT to code it, I was like, it looks very similar to my code. Like, and I don't know for sure, but I'm like, I wonder, like it's scraped all of this. So I wonder if it has picked up my code.
It does really good. I wonder if it stole it from your repo. It's
Yeah,
like, here,
exactly.
take this.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm like, so anyway, this, but yes, that short answer, yeah, you can use AI on the exams. Read the rules of engagement. Like the big ones are you can't like go and ask, like other people are asked for assistance in the exam from other people or in forums or Discord or like have other people doing your exam. But as for like tools like AI or Google or your notes or course or all of those, that's all fair game. Perfect. Okay. So we're about 10 minutes already over here, and I think we've had a lot of really, really good questions. So I do want to quickly wrap up here by first off saying thank you so much for coming and joining us. I know you had some really cool insights about the courses and how to pass them. And then I will quickly mention that we do have our summer sale going on right now. So if you do want to check out some of these certs that we're talking about, or you just want to access the courses as well, you can take advantage of our summer sales running all the way through June. So there's about 3 weeks left of it. Here you can get 20% off any certs. You can get 50% off your first payment to the Academy. There is also 20% off of live training. So I believe we've got an Active Directory live training coming up and our PNPT accelerated camps if you are interested. And we've got a bunch of bundles as well. So the bundles are on sale for the summer sale as well. And there's one, if you do it, you get $1,000 off. So if you want to replicate Mark and you want to get all of the certs and you want to run the gauntlet that he said that he wants to do, there is a bundle that has all of our certs that you can take. And if you do that, you'll get $1,000 off of the regular prices. So again, thank you so much for joining us, Mark. I am sure that we will see you passing the future certs that are coming out. And again, thank you so much for being here. And thank you everyone for tuning in.